Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 25. From time to time, Yushi would get lost in thought. Not once did he declare his decision. Getting anxious, Steward Feng asked, "Doesn't Yushizi want to grow old together with young Master Zhong?" Yushi muttered, "Grow old together, grow old together." For some reason, these three words struck Yushi's heart. His face lost the trace of warmth it originally held, gaze freezing over completely. Then, the corners of his lips faintly tilted up into a smile. "I don't know how long I can live. How could I grow old with anyone?" What Steward Feng feared most was hearing Yushi utter such things. He said with urgency, "Why does your honored self keep thinking this? Yushizi is healthy. As long as you don't do anything that can frighten people, how could you not live until 100? With indifference lacing his words, Yushi replied, "But I like to do things that frighten people. I also don't want to suffer 100 years worth of torture." Steward Feng stood there, frustrated to the extreme. "Don't make decisions on your own and do unnecessary things behind my back." Yushi cast down his gaze. "And don't try to scheme against him. You can't win against him." Steward Feng felt exhausted to the bone. Yushi, this person, could not be persuaded through soft measures or by force. Moreover, he was different from normal people. If one said even a word wrong, he would fly into a craze. It made others unsure how to persuade him. In Steward Feng's opinion, Zhongwan was the best person to deal with this matter. After a moment of thought, he struggled to say, "Then, can Yushizi be a bit nicer to young Master Zhong?" If Yushi could treat Zhongwan well, Steward Feng felt that the situation could still work out. Yushi furrowed his brows. "Treat him a bit nicer? What do you mean?" Helpless, Steward Feng replied, "If you could take out a little of the gentleness you had shown him in the past, that would be enough. You want to persuade him to stay." Yushi hit the nail on the head regarding his intention. He said in a cold voice, "Didn't I treat him well enough back then? And didn't he still leave without saying anything?" Steward Feng practically could not speak reason anymore. Prince Ning had raised young Master Zhong since he was a little child. His kindness toward young Master Zhong was immense. With the situation back then, he had no choice but to leave. Also, he wanted to say something else but didn't dare to. His voice grew many levels softer. In those couple of days, it was Yushizi who removed all the guards from the side courtyard and had people place many silver notes in plain sight. It was clearly to let him escape. When Yushi recalled the past, his expression grew more unsightly. He leaned against the back of his chair, his countenance gloomy. "Withdraw." Fear struck Steward Feng's heart, but he still held on to his courage. What if it was young Master Zhong himself who wanted to stay? Yushi did not even waste a second to think. Impossible. But Steward Feng just wouldn't give up. "If young Master Zhong doesn't leave with the people of Prince Jianan's estate and wants to stay at our estate, then what should we do? This old slave cannot possibly drive him away, right?" Yushi stared at Steward Feng, stunned. Steward Feng steeled his heart. At that time, when young Master Zhongwan brings his luggage with him and is firmly set on moving into Yushizi's inner chamber, what should we do? May Yushizi please give this old slave an instruction. If he was not allowed to stay like that, this slave will have the estate soldiers burn his luggage and beat him soundly before driving him away. Yushi stared in a daze for a while. Then he frowned and asked, "Have you been with me for too long that you've gone mad like me?" Steward Feng stood his ground. This old slave is only hoping for an instruction from Yushizi. Yushi's gaze proved overcast and unstable. He stared at Steward Feng, then he rose to his feet and left. Yushi didn't respond at all this time, but Steward Feng felt relieved. Like this, there was still a glimmer of hope. He thought about things and hurriedly wrote a note. Then, ordering to ensure that Yushi wouldn't know, he ordered for the note to be delivered first thing tomorrow to Prince Jianan estate and hand it over to Zhongyuan. The next day, in Prince Jianan's estate, Zhongyuan read the note. For a long while, he did not speak. Steward Feng had said that if he had any plans on remaining in the capital, there was no need to tell Yushi ahead of time. Once he had sent off the people of Prince Jianan's estate, he should directly move into the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate with his luggage, that it would be great if he could move into Yushi's inner chamber and live together with him. Zhongyuan was honestly startled. Did Steward Feng know how embarrassed he had been yesterday? After Yushi had merely hugged him, he almost. Not only that, but to live together with Yushi. Wouldn't Yushi think he had gone crazy from benefiting from his expense? It wasn't just this. Steward Feng had specially added one statement, that Zhongyuan mustn't be apprehensive, that as long as he kept sticking to Yushi, that would be enough. Kept sticking to Yushi? How? Did he have to pull aside Yushi's blankets and undress him in the middle of the night? Wouldn't Yushi stab him? Zhongyuan crushed the note in his hand. For a while, his heart was incapable of calming down. This was too irritating. He burned the note as he muttered to himself, "Is it really that hard to stay in the capital?" As he spoke, a servant knocked on the door outside. They asked if he had packed up already. Zhongyuan broke free from his thoughts and nodded. Yes. Today, he must enter the palace. Xian Rui's illness grew progressively worse. As such, Emperor Chang'an wanted to ask someone why was that so. Among Prince Jianan's estate, only Zhongyuan could go. Xian Kengzin waited in the main hall. As soon as she saw Zhongyuan arrive, she stood. Extremely uneasy, she grumbled in a soft voice, "Why is it so troublesome? What can he not just ask the imperial physicians?" "It's good that he wants to ask me about this," said Zhongyuan with a smile. "If the emperor doesn't ask, then how could I mention your request to return to Jianan?" Xian Kengzin recalled the last time they had entered the palace, and she brooded. "Back then, he suddenly asked to see you. Once he had summoned you, a long time passed before you came out. I waited by the palace doors anxiously and almost went inside to search for you." Staring blankly, Zhongyuan recalled that incident. He thought about the time he had escorted Xian Kengzin into the palace. Afterwards Yushi had seized him by force in the library pavilion. He couldn't help but remember the words in Steward Feng's note. Just what did Steward Feng meant by them? After he had sent off Xian Rui and the others, he had to directly move into the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate? Just directly, just go over like that? Zhongyuan didn't have much luggage on him. There was no need to rent a carriage. So, did Steward Feng already prepare everything for him over there? Oh right, he also had to stick to Yushi everywhere. And even had to wrap himself around him at night. How was that possible? In order to prevent Yushi from stabbing him, shouldn't he tie him up in advance? But Zhongyuan couldn't win against him in a fight. Should he drug him ahead of time? Zhongyuan was guilty of drugging Yushi in the past. He merely dripped a few drops of sleeping drugs in his tea and then young Yushi slept like a pig, allowing anyone to fiddle with him. The Yushi of the past was already very handsome. Compared to his present self, his eyes used to be a shade gentler. But when he slept, his expression seemed cold. At that time, when Zhongyuan had looked at the sleeping Yushi, he had held his hand, cheeks red from embarrassment. The current Yushi. Zhongyuan swallowed. He found himself even less daring. Even if the current Yushi was drugged, he would probably still appear quite terrifying. Zhongyuan? Zhongyuan? Zhongyuan snapped out of his reverie. Yes? What is it? Xian Kengzin felt helpless. She gave him her handheld brazier. Get there early and return early. It will be best if His Majesty allows us to leave. If not, we can figure out another plan. Don't provoke his anger. A smile graced his lips. Of course. Don't worry. It will take at most 4 hours before I return. After Zhongyuan had received the handheld brazier, he turned and left. His hopes weren't that high. Emperor Chang'an was unlikely to care whether Xian Rui died or lived. For Emperor Chang'an to urge them to stay for a few days was only for his own reputation. And Zhongyuan was to accompany him in this show. If he's not successful this time, then they would have to remain in the capital for a few days. But the emperor would definitely allow them to leave in the end. They just needed to leave the capital before the death of third Prince Xianjin. There were many of Yuxi's spies among the people of Prince Jian'an's estate. The moment Zhongyuan left the estate, Yuxi received news of it. In a low voice, Yuxi said, "Help me change clothes. I want to enter the palace." In an instant, the servant attending to Yuxi left to fetch his clothes. Yuxi's identity was different from those of other people. Since young, he never had to inform anyone whenever he wanted to enter or leave the imperial palace. Even the imperial princes could not compare to him in this regard. But once he had entered the palace, Yuxi did not deliberately look for Zhongyuan. Yuxi himself wasn't sure why he had come here in the first place. Steward Feng's words had caused him to be distraught. It made his mind even more unclear than it had been earlier. He did not want Zhongyuan to remain in the capital. But once he thought Zhongyuan could live together with him like he had done in his youth, Yuxi started to waver. However, didn't Zhongyuan leave back then? As to why was Steward Feng so hung up on this? Yuxi was clear on the reason. Lowering his head, he smiled. No matter the reason, it was very strange that everyone didn't want him to die. Without realizing it, Yuxi had walked to Guanjing Pavilion, which was near the edge of Bibo Pond. He stared at the withered lotuses in a daze. It was warm in the imperial palace. The few ponds in the palace did not freeze over. Yuxi stared at the dark pond water, turned around and left Guanjing Pavilion. He walked directly to the edge of the pond, gazing blankly at its unfathomable depths. If he jumped over like this and died, how nice would that be? Then everyone would be washed clean. From the pavilion rang many footsteps. A frown slid its way across Yuxi's lips. Someone would always appear at a time like this. Why did he enter the palace? At the pavilion, fifth Prince Qianqiang grasped the banister. Impatience lacing his voice as he said, "And he even wants me to wait for him. What kind of rules are these?" "Yes. It truly isn't proper," said his attendant. "However, it's not that His Majesty is giving Zhongyuan face. At this moment, he is asking about Prince Jian'an's condition." How baffling. Once Qianqiang mentioned Zhongyuan, immense unhappiness settled in his heart. It's fine if imperial father is biased toward elder cousin, but he just has to attach so much importance to Zhongyuan. In the past, when we had studied together, he sighed. Gifted scholar Zhon was very arrogant. Other than Xian Rui, he did not speak to anyone. He even accompanied the crown prince to study. Only he had that honor. The attendant smiled. No matter how arrogant he was, isn't he just a slave now? Back then, Master had been benevolent. Otherwise, Master could have purchased him and beat and killed him at will. What a pity. Young Prince Yu had purchased him. What young Prince Yu? He still hasn't inherited the position. Suen Qian was vexed. It would be great if he had inherited the position early on. Right now, he is neither high nor low in status. It agitates me. Yuxi's background and birth were both a mystery. Since early on, Qianqiang had held suspicions. Not a day went by when he didn't worry that Yuxi truly was Emperor Chang'an's bastard son. And in the future, would block his own path. His attendant also understood this fact. Lowering his voice, he said, "The walls have ears. Isn't there no one around right now?" Although Qianqiang had said this, he did not continue on this topic of conversation anymore. He switched to a smile. Did you hear that yesterday, elder cousin went to Prince Jianan's estate? Ha! He probably went to see Zhongyuan. The attendant also laughed softly. Zhongyuan is indeed a sight for the eyes. I caught a glimpse of him from afar. And he is even more handsome than in the past. However, a smile blossomed on Xian Kaiyang's lips. What a disgrace! Near whisper, the attendant said, didn't he belong to young Prince Yu in the past? Now, he has met his old master again. Who knows how he curried favor with him behind our backs. Speaking of which, I had also wanted to purchase him that year. But mother did not allow it. Uncle was also unwilling. Xian Kaiyang sneered. It truly is interesting. At that time, uncle kept watch on me tightly and said not to touch the matters concerning Prince Ning. Yet he couldn't control his own son, letting Yu Suiyu purchase Zhongyuan. Oh! Alas, who can control young Prince Yu? The attendant smiled. On the other hand, the more one loves someone, the stricter one would supervise them. Prince Yu loves your honored self deeply. That's why he supervises you to such a high degree. As for young Prince Yu, he's just there as a pretty decoration. That's right, it was uncertain what Xian Kaiyang had just thought of, but he suddenly smiled. He turned his head to his attendant and whispered a few words. Laughter broke out between them. Xian Kaiyang ordered, block his path. You must definitely block his path. Once he leaves the palace, he will be a slave. The attendant hesitated for a long time, before advising, let him be. Zhongyuan isn't a good thing. What isn't a good thing? You, Xian Kaiyang whispered, tell him that elder cousin came to pick him up, he would definitely come then. The attendant wanted to persuade him otherwise, but Xian Kaiyang only smiled and said, what? I will only reminisce the past with Zhongyuan. Haha, even if we had a fight about it, do you think uncle will be on my side or with elder cousin? Ah! Uncle would probably want me to make elder cousin lose more face. Dry laughter escaped from the attendant's lips. That naturally would be the case. Who doesn't just give young Prince Yu face on the surface but dislikes him behind his back? The more Xian Kaiyang thought of this, the more reasonable he found those words to be. Haha. In a little while, when Zhongyuan sees me, his face ha 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 ha. Below Guanjing Pavilion, Yu Shi listened expressionlessly. He stared at the pond's water with his head lowered, still wanting to walk into it, still wanting to submerge to the depths and end it once and for all. If he died, then he didn't have to see these people anymore, to hear those words anymore. Once Yu Shi took 2 steps into the water. Above in the Guanjing Pavilion, Xian Kaiyang and his attendant left on the other side. Don't follow me. Go and prepare first, said Xian Kaiyang, trying to hold back his laughter. You must act convincingly. Right? Did elder cousin enter the palace today? Ha! How convenient. Go dress up as his attendant. Zhongyuan definitely won't be able to tell the difference. Then at that time, all of a sudden, Xian Kaiyang stopped in his tracks. As he was startled, he stuttered, elder cousin. Yu Shi stood in the corridor, expression gloomy. Xian Kaiyang did not know how much Yu Shi had heard. His mind was in chaos as he tried to laugh nonchalantly. Why is elder cousin here? Yu Shi's gaze grew red, his lips pale. From the beginning, Xian Kaiyang was afraid of him. Right now, his heart was in even more unease. Anxiously, he said, "Why?" Yu Shi stared him straight in the face. Out of the blue, he said, "You're hoping I would die, right?" Xian Kaiyang forced a smile. "Why? Why do you say this?" "You're scared that if I die too early, no one would help you," kept Xianjing in check, Yu Shi thought aloud. "But in your heart, you also hope that I will meet with an accident, right?" Xian Kaiyang was frightened to the point where he couldn't listen to Yu Shi's words clearly. He only found Yu Shi's current appearance terrifying. He opened and closed his mouth, wanting to explain, but in the end, he could not utter a single word. Yushi turned his head to the side, looking at the pond. If I jump in right now, would you be happy? Xianqiang's entire body trembled. Jump in. I've attempted suicide many times. Yushi looked down at Xianqiang, voice hoarse. How is this any strange? Coming to the conclusion that Yushi had overheard them earlier, Xianqiang's attendant forced himself to calm down. Why, young prince, our prince was only joking before. We didn't actually want to do anything to Zhongyuan. Zhongyuan, Yushi had a splitting headache. He lowered his head and furrowed his brows. Zhongyuan is at Jianan. This wasn't the first time Xianqiang had seen Yushi's crazed appearance. He tried his best to compose his heart. He stammered, yes. We were only joking around. I didn't say that I wanted to do anything to Zhongyuan. Just that I wanted to tell him to come over and jest with him. Zhongyuan, soft laughter spilled from Yushi's lips. It would be best if I died. Then Zhongyuan would belong to you, right? It'd be best for everyone, if I died. Then everyone would be clean. Once more, Yushi turned to look at the pond. He muttered, everyone hopes for my death. Yushi nearly frightened Xianqiang to death. He worried that Yushi would spread the words that he and his attendant had spoken previously. He was so worried, his heart felt as if it were on fire. He hardened his heart and said, indeed. Dying would make everyone else clean. Yushi's gaze remained on the pond. The deep depth seemed to be luring him in, wanting to free him. It'd be clean, but, evil glint flashed in Yushi's eyes. Suddenly, he turned to Xianqiang. Why should I clean up for you people? Xianqiang almost fell to his knees from fear. In one step, Yushi grabbed his collar. Laughed lowly. You also want it, don't you? Your uncle as well, right? You all hope that I die early, right? Countless images zipped through Yushi's mind, increasing his headache where his head almost felt like exploding. Yushi's voice trembled as he said, you're hoping that I jump into the pond. You're hoping that I go down there. After Yushi had gripped Xianqiang's collar, he suddenly recalled that yesterday, he had also gripped Zhongyuan like this. Zhongyuan had leaned against his chest, as if he had been aroused. Once more did low laughter escape Yushi's lips. But right now, I suddenly don't feel like dying. Due to how afraid Xianqiang was, he hiccuped. Yushi lowered his head and gazed at Xianqiang's face. His face was still pale from fear. And at that moment, he felt repulsed. You want to copy him? Disgusted, Yushi shoved Xianqiang all the way into the pond. Coldly and filled with rage, he said, if you want someone to die, then go die first. The moment Xianqiang hit the water, he squealed like a pig sent to slaughter. In the first place, he did not know how to swim. So, being suddenly thrown into an ice-cold pond, he immediately submerged to the bottom. Xianqiang's attendant was scared frozen. Never had he expected that, out of nowhere, his master would fall into the pond. As if he had gone mad, the attendant shouted. Immediately, Imperial guards rushed over. Standing at the side, Yushi adjusted his sleeves, not caring about the deafening noise around. At that moment, he felt a lot more comfortable. His mind had cleared up as well. He sucked in a deep breath and left with a neutral expression. What had Xianqiang said before? If he left the palace right now, he could catch up to Zhongyuan. End chapter. Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 26. Zhongyuan felt that he truly had a lot of bad luck this year. After he finally received an opportunity to meet with the emperor through much difficulty, before he could even request permission to travel back on behalf of Xian Rui, someone suddenly interrupted from outside. Fifth Prince Xianqiang had fallen into a pond. Zhongyuan's heart dropped. He instantly remembered the current rumors that said the imperial princes were fated to have misfortune relating to water. Emperor Chang'an's expression immediately changed. He couldn't be bothered with Zhonwan anymore as he shouted, "What about the people around Xianqiang? How did they let him fall in? How is Xianqiang now?" The guard who had come to relay the message couldn't handle such a responsibility. He kowtowed and said, "Fifth Highness, servants and the guards around the pond have all been arrested already. We still need careful interrogation to find out what actually happened. Right now, Fifth Highness has been taken to Thousand Autumn Palace. Imperial Consort Yu and the Imperial doctors are already there." Emperor Chang'an was as agitated as could be. He ordered people to check on Xianqiang, then told others to bring Xianqiang's attendant over. Zhonwan originally should have left already, but he really wanted to know if the annoying thing known as Xianqiang had died or not. After a moment of hesitation, he stood silently off to the side, pretending he wasn't there. Not long afterwards, Xianqiang's attendant was brought over. That attendant was entirely soaked with pond water below the waist. He hadn't had time to change yet. Now, he was shaking uncontrollably because of the cold. He even stuttered as he spoke due to this. Before Emperor Chang'an could start questioning, the attendant stammered out the previous occurrences while avoiding the important details and focused on the trivialities. He didn't mention the prior conversation between himself and Xianqiang, only saying that Xianqiang had been waiting outside the hall for a long time. His legs were numb from the cold, so he decided to take a walk around Bibo Pond. When he left the viewing terrace, he coincidentally encountered Yushi. The two barely exchanged any conversation before an obviously abnormal Yushi pushed the other into the water. As soon as Emperor Chang'an heard the name Yushi, his expression became even worse. Yushi was just by himself. Why would he push Xianqiang? Xianqiang's attendant kept kowtowing incessantly. He cried and shook his head while saying that he didn't know. Emperor Chang'an was about to start angrily scolding the attendant for being foolish when the attendant said while crying and kowtowing, "Young prince, you often acts differently from normal people. This one don't know why he was in a bad mood today, but, even if something really wasn't going the way he wanted it to, he could have just taken his anger out on this one. How could he push his highness? This is all this one's fault for being incapable of protecting his highness." Emperor Chang'an remembered Yushi's usual preposterous behavior and paused for a moment. He stopped blaming the attendant and ordered more people to go check on Xianqiang. Xianqiang's attendant wiped away his cold sweat and slightly relaxed. How fortunate that Yushi had acted so preposterously in the past. Each time, Emperor Chang'an would only act strictly for appearance's sake before barely punishing the other. Afterwards, to give Prince Yu's estate enough face and to save Yushi's reputation, he would refuse to allow anyone else to look into the matter in detail, much less try to figure out what had truly happened. As such, he could probably avoid mentioning what Xianqiang had said before falling into the water. Zhonwan stood off to the side. He turned his head to look at that attendant. He emboldened himself and asked in a deep voice, "Did young Prince Yu start acting crazy out of the blue, or did you fail to do your job and allowed Fifth Highness to go to the water's edge? Or, were you the one who actually pushed Fifth Highness into the water?" Emperor Chang'an paused. He finally remembered that Zhonwan was still here. Zhonwan knelt. "Fifth Highness is currently unconscious. We don't know what will happen in the future either. This is related to a prince's life, perhaps even to the previous incident where Third Highness almost drowned too. This humble one must trouble your majesty and ask for a complete investigation." Emperor Chang was silent for a moment before asking the old eunuch, "How is Qiang heir?" The old eunuch shook his head. His expression was filled with worry. They did manage to save his life, but he's still unconscious at this moment. Imperial consort Yu almost passed out from crying. Right now, she's throwing a tantrum, saying she wants young Prince Yu to pay with his own life. Emperor Chang'an rubbed the spot between his eyebrows. A pause, and he said, Suiyu probably hasn't left the palace yet. Bring him here. Zhonwan thought to himself, Yushi, you'd best not have pushed Qianqiang into the water because you suddenly felt like it. Otherwise, with how much I would be helping the wrong one, you'd probably truly fuck me in a fit of anger after returning. Zhonwan scanned Qianqiang's attendant who was still kneeling on the ground with his peripheral vision. He felt that the other seemed to be trembling even more than before. As expected, this attendant hadn't told the truth. Zhonwan felt the conviction in his heart gain strength, but he also couldn't help but felt sad on behalf of Yushi. Yushi's background was complicated. Those who knew the truth would definitely not allow the secret to come out. Others who didn't know anything only understood that he didn't have a normal identity. Regardless of what he did, Emperor Chang'an would cover it up for him in order to prevent the old secrets from being revealed. Yushi himself might not even try to explain anything. Thus, they could all push any and all blame onto him. But regardless of what his background was, had he chosen it for himself? Zhonwan thought back on what Steward Feng had previously said about how often Yushi had almost died these past few years. He suddenly started to suspect if those occurrences had truly been Yushi seeking death or if they were due to others encouraging his suicidal tendencies. Had they added fuel to the flames and tried to kill with a borrowed sword? The Yushi of 7 years ago hadn't even heard of sleeping drugs. How would he know what Hanshi-san was? Had he actually found those drugs himself, or had someone else learned of his suicidal tendencies and tempted him into consuming them? The way Yushi was, murdering him was an overly easy task. Zhonwan's chest filled with angry flames as he observed the attendant ceaselessly shaking on the ground. Even a lowly slave dared to boldly place the blame on Yushi. Not long after, Yushi, who had just reached the palace gates, was stopped and brought back. Yushi's expression appeared natural, as if he hadn't been the one who had pushed Qianqiang into the water. He only slightly paused upon seeing Zhonwan. Afterwards, his gaze returned to normal. Emperor Chang'an asked, "Did you push Qianqiang into the water?" Yushi nodded, "Yes." He obviously didn't want to explain anything. Qianqiang's attendant latched onto this last lifeline. He continuously kowtowed, saying there was no one else to blame but himself. Emperor Chang'an felt a headache coming on. "What are you playing at now?" Everything was fine. Yushi glanced at the attendant on the ground and scoffed. He was curious what unwanted label he had been given this time. Yushi calmly said, "I felt disgusted looking at him, so I pushed him in." Emperor Chang'an furiously shouted, "You!" Zhonwan ground his teeth. This imbecile. Yushi didn't want to bother arguing for himself. He didn't want to repeat even a single phrase of what Qianqiang had said. Either way, Emperor Chang'an wouldn't do anything to him. No matter what they said, all he had to do was admit it. Yushi lifted his gaze to look at Emperor Chang'an. A hint of impatience flitted through his heart. He didn't believe that Emperor Chang'an couldn't guess why he had acted out of line. It was because of the same old reasons every time. What else was there to explain? Emperor Chang'an feared hearing about these things. He himself also wasn't patient enough to say them. If it could be ambiguously resolved, everyone would be happy. Either way, Qianqiang hadn't died. At most, he would be placed under house arrest again. What else could happen? Yushi was about to confess when he saw Zhonwan in his peripheral vision. He froze. Zhonwan was gazing at him anxiously. By now, Yushi had completely calmed down. After a brief thought, he knew that there was a great possibility that Zhonwan had said something for Emperor Chang'an to summon him here for more questioning. Zhonwan waited for a bit, but he still didn't hear Yushi say a word. He was beside himself with anxiety, wishing that he could refute things for the other. He lifted his head to glance at Yushi and saw that Yushi was actually looking at him, too. Their eyes met. Zhonwan froze, then heard Yushi muttered with furrowed brows, "Busybody." Yushi stayed quiet for a long time, like he had just made a grave decision. In agitation, he said, "Your Majesty, please order irrelevant people to leave." Emperor Chang'an nodded. Zhongyuan, the irrelevant person, was thus politely asked to leave. Zhongyuan guessed that Xianqiang had probably said something he couldn't be allowed to hear. Since Yushi was willing to argue for himself, things would probably be fine. Zhongyuan waited outside the hall. He watched as a livid imperial consort Yu walked into the great hall with an imperial doctor, then watched as she walked out again, tears streaming down her face and a glint in her eyes. A while later, Xianqiang's attendant got towed out. The old eunuch lowered his gaze and quietly instructed, "His Majesty is kind and has only ordered 100 hits for punishment. Take him to get his punishment." The guards outside the hall acknowledged this. The old eunuch then slowly drawled out, "This is a person who has angered young Prince Yu. Be a bit more conscientious. Don't make young Prince Yu unhappy." That attendant, who was scared half to death, could tell that this meant he was going to be killed. He made to scream in fright, but his nose and mouth got covered by the guards. They then dragged him away. The old eunuch turned to look at Zhongyuan and kindly said, "How unexpected that so much has happened today. It's quite unfortunate. The emperor most likely doesn't have the energy to speak with you anymore. Young Master Zhon needn't wait here for nothing. This old slave will walk you out of the palace." Zhongyuan nodded. He followed the old eunuch out. On the way, he heard the old eunuch chatting quietly with the young eunuch following them. "Imperial consort Yu is truly foolish." The emperor was still in the height of his anger, but she insisted on charging in front of young Prince Yu and all those servants, no less. She was scolded fairly harshly by His Majesty, losing her face. "Her Highness is foolish. His Majesty originally made it taboo for her to share those rumors with Fifth Highness, but she refused to listen. Now she's run straight into the blade of the sword. See how it is, even though she didn't teach him to say those things, everyone considers her as the one who taught him to say them now." Young Prince Yu was on guard today. He unexpectedly spoke so much. That's because that slave was too bold. It's all right if others say it, but how dare he declare that young Prince Yu's emotions are unstable? If that isn't looking for death, I don't know what is. Zhongyuan sighed gently. At the palace gates, he thanked the old eunuch. The old eunuch's eyes were filled with amusement. He softly stated, "It's freezing nowadays. Young Master Zhon, be careful not to catch a cold." Zhongyuan nodded. He thought to himself, "They probably said all that this entire way for me to hear." The eunuchs by the emperor's side had no personal favorites. They only respected those people that Emperor Chang'an cared about. The old eunuchs were so protective of Yushi, which meant that they probably also knew the truth. Zhongyuan's thoughts were extremely muddled. Just as he was about to leave, the old eunuch who walked him out smiled again and said, "Young Master Zhon, please wait." He took 2 steps forward, still smiling. "Let me share a joke this old servant just heard with young Master Zhon. Something trivial. This old servant will say it, young Master Zhon listens to it. Whatever you do, don't become angry and don't think too much about it." Zhongyuan furrowed his brows. "Gong Gong, please speak." The old eunuch bent his body and stated in a low voice, "That treacherous slave just now said that previously, before Fifth Highness fell into the water, he was in the middle of discussing how he planned to have the other pretend to be a slave from Prince Yu's estate, apprehend young Master Zhong outside the palace gates, and lure the young master away." Zhongyuan's pupils trembled. This old slave don't know if it's true or not. The words out of a silly slave are only meant for inattentive listening. But see, young Prince Yu was accidentally given a push. The old eunuch looked outside the palace. With a smile on his face, he continued, "Isn't the area outside the gates so calm and peaceful now?" Zhongyuan felt like his heart had been stabbed by someone. It hurt like crazy. Thus, young Master Zhon can leave without worrying. It's already quite late. When you get off the carriage, you would have reached home. The old eunuch bowed and led the young eunuch away. Zhonwan tried his best to maintain his image as he climbed into the horse carriage. The old eunuch's words echoed in his ears, causing all his internal organs to twist in pain. Hasui you. Cold sweat appeared on Zhonwan's forehead. He bent over in discomfort and spent a long time taking several deep breaths before recovering. Zhonwan rubbed his face and calmed his breathing. He had made up his mind. No matter how Yushi tried to shoo him away, he needed to stay. He couldn't be rest assured otherwise. It was already pitch black outside. After a considerable amount of time, his horse carriage finally came to a halt. Zhonwan got off. He looked up at the placard outside the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate. For a long time, he had nothing to say. What happened to you'll reach home after getting out of the carriage? End chapter.